Hello, good Kenyans. Yes, thank you very much for joining us again. My name is Tuku Moita. I'm your host today, as always. As the future will always tell, I'll be your host today. Is the 13th of May, the year is 2026. It's a good Wednesday, 8 a.m. We've tried to keep time today. Jana tulisema tupige the Houdini Act because some of you Kenyans decided to misbehave while the French president himself was getting some good historical um, cultural history. And he decided to go all out, so he decided to grab the mic and tell you how to behave and how to act. And to put a disclaimer to it, you were told that is leadership. You see, one of the things you do not understand as Kenyans is during the colonial times, some of the most cruel people, colonizers back then, topping up even kushinda the British or the French people, walisukuma wa Africa proper. Some of the countries that were colonized by the French know exactly what I'm saying. So when you decide to misbehave while their their excellency is talking, then munajieka kwa shida zingine. Mimi nikasema jana nijifiche. If there comes a wave 2, when maumaus are needed, mimi nitatokea leo nikuje niingie kichaka nijaribu kuwapigania, because that is the direction you're taking if you're going to shout at the president. Anyway, yes, that was on a lighter note. How are you doing, Wakenya? It's magazeti day today. Let us go through magazeti kidogo and see how our country is faring, how our politics are going, and generally how the inchi is going at large. Yes, there's about 30 presidents in the country right now. I saw a video yesterday of the JKIA private sector where the private jets zimepakiwa. It's quite a show out there. And it makes you wonder how we call ourselves third world countries. And if you look at the jets that they are Kinara, let me just call him Kinara because he's here oversighting more than 30 African presidents. You may wonder why he's the one on that spot, but yeah, it is what it is. If you see the kind of private jets that landed at JKIA inakaa parking ya, unaweza sema ni viti zimepakiwa huko juu venye ziko mingi private jets, and these are people who never lack miss a chance of going to China to get loans, but their means of travel is top notch. Their means of travel, yes, you try and search for that video and watch what is packed at JKI, and you'll understand exactly why some of these African countries make us sick to the bone marrow. George ni bone marrow ama ni bone marrow? Yes. So from COVID to Hunter virus. So that's a headline. It is within our dailies for today. So Hunter virus has hit quite hard, especially in the Western countries. Some of the countries being, that is Canada, United Kingdom, the Netherlands, Spain, Germany, Switzerland, and yes, the French. And we let them in this country in large numbers. And yet there is Hunter virus in that same country. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying I hope the Kenyan diplomatic team took measures together with the health communities, that is our health ministry, took the right measures to make sure before these French people landed within our airspaces, they were well in order within their health capacities. We do not want to see another corona episode coming into this country. I'm not saying they have hantavirus. I'm just saying France is one of the countries that is largely affected with hantavirus right now. Some of the cases that have been established as of yesterday, as I've mentioned, is the United Kingdom, Netherlands, Spain, Germany, Canada, Switzerland, and yes, France. So there have been cases in those countries. And just to put it out there, like we saw on the 2020, our minister back then, who's the minister for agriculture right now, put some very stringent and very good measures to make sure that corona was not being spread in this country. I only hope that we are not going to let hunter virus take our spaces simply because we need to entertain a few people into our country. We need to also weigh, is what they are bringing, is it worth the risk? So yes, that is one of the headlines. Africa Summit, Ruto peers tie energy transition to easier credit access on the continent. It's a good move that the president is trying to put out there. And one of the things that the president has kept on saying, most especially in his speeches, there was a time, and I keep making reference to that because he gave a very strong speech and people were looking forward for some utmost changes within this country. To set an example, the president made a speech in 2023 at the UN complex, and he made a promise to the African continent and its leaders that he's going to push for a move where Africans will stand on their own. He literally made a comment and said that it is about time Africa was brought into the limelight and stood on their own. So, right after France split ways with Sahel, and one of the cases, even the French president made a comment to, was the Mali incident. And people are really dying in Mali. But the French president said yes. He made some comment I do not want to repeat here. It's quite hurtful to a country that is undergoing whatever is undergoing right now there. But the president, the Kenyan president, to be precise, told us, and it was a very brilliant speech, and that is why I keep making reference to it. It is in regards to that speech that I do not understand why we have one president, one white president, and I have to emphasize on that, white, from a French country, is oversighting a meeting that is supposed to be held moderated by one of our own Africans. So this president, much as you're going to tell us that he's not here to oversight, he's not here to moderate what you're doing, we've seen the amount of reflection that have been put to him. He's acting more superior than any other president that has been invited into this country. We have quite a number of them. Literally, KICC was mayhem yesterday trying to manage the security of all these people and their entourage. But this one president gets quite an amount of security and attention and paving way, because we saw at that door wenye walikuwa wanajifinyiria wakiingia, one of the people that was not there was the French president. All the other presidents were let loose like any other person, but this one person, and that tells you that this person is being accorded some attention, some respect that the other people are not being accorded. And this is contrary to what our president and any other president that's gone to the UN and made demands that it is about time the African continent got to be independent and made their own decision and placed on the same platform as other first world countries. Now, I fail to understand how, if you yourself cannot accord your fellow president the same respect you're according to this one Western president, then how do you expect for these Western countries to accord you the respect that you need? This is the reason why at some point in England, when we had an event there, and African presidents were bundled in one basi, some people are even saying walieko kwa city shuttle. It is the same thing, because you are doing it to yourselves. Why don't we do it to you? That is why you'll find a whole president, a whole foreign president, grabbing a mic from another person, from the MC, and seeing it very appropriate to lecture citizen from a foreign country. And mind you, and I'm very sorry to put this across, a country that has been colonized before. Not by you, of course, but all the same colonized by the people which you participated in colonizing other people in the events where you participated. And my question is, and I saw Larry Madowo pose the same question, and I would love to hear an answer to it. Do you think if President Ruto or Museveni or the Ugandan president or the Tanzanian president went to France and acted the same, do you think they would become right now like there is in Kenya right now? Or better yet, do you think Macron would behave the same if he was in Germany, if he was in Russia, if he was in the US? Do you think he would behave the same? But yes, moving forward, I saw a comment yesterday from one of the Kenyans who commented on Facebook and said, you people need to find a banana farm and go settle there, mwende mkapigia kelele huko, mwacha kupigia the French president kelele. And right after that, someone from the same country sees it fit to say, and that is leadership. Meaning our own president did not portray leadership. I do not think even our president understood the amount of disrespect that was in that sentence. And ladies and gentlemen, that is leadership. Your accent, that is leadership. So what exactly was that statement trying to reflect? I do not know. Why Treasury wants MPs to bring back Mitumba tax. Sometimes it gets very hard to defend this government. Sometimes I really listen to what, especially our president, leave alone the ministers and the MPs, that's a whole different story. Our president, sometimes he talks a lot of sense, and sometimes he gives promises that makes you want him to be president even more. But now if you try to connect the things he says and the things that are done in this country, then it makes you feel very sick. Again, some of the things that the president promised us, and some of the things that the president was trying to say to defend the previous finance bill, last year's finance bill, actually the last two finance bills, is that the president wants to promote local manufacturing. The president wants to promote encourage people to consume Kenya so we can build Kenya. And they even further went ahead, our expert, who's now the Minister for Finance, whom I'm not sure is a community leader or a CS, or the same, he is what he is, made a comment this year actually, and said that some of the things that are making them charge some commodities more is so they can not only discourage Kenyans to consume foreign products, but encourage local manufacturers to penetrate even more into this country. It makes me very sad to see companies uko Babadogo na industrial area, the fast moving consumer goods companies, shutting down because they cannot handle taxes in this country. Scaling down simply because they would rather import commodities and come sell them and lay off some of the people that were being included in manufacturing. When you have one particular, and I'm not going to mention the name because I'm not sure if they would want me to mention the name, in Babadogo, that used to employ 3,627 employees. Right now, they have scaled down to 1,112 because they would rather not manufacture in this country. They would rather import the commodities they were manufacturing before and move them to the Mwananchi. Because it's gotten so expensive to pay these people, to pay for their taxes, to pay for their social health plans, to pay for their retirement plans, that is the NSSF, to pay for their payees. It is gotten very expensive to maintain employment in this country. Now we are moving ahead to encouraging taxing mitumbas, because there's a lot of it coming in this to this country, and the government would rather not invest in policy making, but gather enough from whatever they can get. It is the same reason you see these people trying to tell us that us giving us fuel that is so substandard with so much sulfur components into it, so simply we can just afford the fuel. It has become a norm in this country that laziness from our political class and from our ministerial class, people who are supposed to make policies and implement them, it is easier to lie on the wooden bed without a mattress because it is easier for us. So when you're telling me that you're going to allow fuel that is full of sulfur to be sold in this country simply because you do not want to think outside the box, A. So when you're telling me it is easier for you to shut down EPZs in this country and tax more on mitumbas, not considering the post-sale garbage maintainers of those mitumba in this country. Because it is very easy for some countries like the UK, the US, the Chinese, and the rest to dump their waste into this country in the name of mitumbas. It's actually saving them so many environmental hardships they encounter within their countries. And you as a whole minister, and you as a whole government would rather embrace these mitumbas in whatever amounts they come to this country and find a way to tax them more in opposition to you encouraging and building up his EPZs in this country. Take no kwa Kenya. Whatever you saw, the outburst you saw with the French president, that is probably what is called leadership. We do not know. We were told that. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is leadership. I choose to be a single mom. Is this, and the question is posed, is this the new face of parenting? I think I'm not going to comment on that. I'm not. Court battle depends over Gachagua hospitalization evidence. So now, Gachagua apparently was not sick. And one of the doctors that diagnosed him and admitted him, Dr. Gekonyo, one of the most reputable doctors in this country, the current hospital, is being put on the bench, and his credibility is being questioned by our very own deputy president. The current deputy president, not the impeached one. I had to make that disclaimer not to contradict any information that might proceed to that. I see people being taken to court for everything in this country when it gets political. So I do not know why this is coming right now. I do not know if this is the best use of the Senate time, because this is probably going to consume some other few months of our life. People trying to be shifted out of the main problems that are facing us right now. It is my understanding that almost 200,000 grade 10 pupils have not found any place to settle. Is it 6 months down the line, 5 months after? They still haven't found a way. Capitation is still a problem in this country. Health plan, the SHA, is still a problem in this country. And I'm saying this out of experience. Right now, the only SHA that is really working is the civil servant SHA. And some of the places you can only find quality and fully serviced health within our country is probably some hospitals around hapo Isili and some other hospitals hapa nje kidogo kidogo. You literally have to know where to go. You cannot just walk into a public hospital and get serviced with SHA, because some of the hospitals are not taking this SHA. And we're still thinking of how we're going to scrutinize whomever. This country is making me sick to the stomach. But all the same, we need to embrace whatever is happening. Ni sisi tulichagua, so hakuna shida. So future-proofing Africa family offices for across-board growth. So these are some of the things that our very able presidents are trying to discuss in their summit right now. And some of the things that they are bringing on board are deals centralizing with the same president. Much as they are telling us that he's not involved in any way. Kenya in new deal with the French to set up training camp in Kenya. I will say this, and will say this with a lot of pain. And I'm not here to bandwagon anything into certain directions, but this is how it is. The committee that was set by the parliament to oversight and look at some of the historical injustices that have been done, the atrocities that were committed and are still being committed by the British government in Nanyuki via Batuk, the British training unit in Nanyuki. We've sent so many millions, we've spent so many millions within that inquiry. Koech being the leader of that inquiry from Parliament, they've come up with several cases that needs addressing. So many children are roaming in Dolo. So many children, I literally went to school with some pointees who cannot tell you who the father is. Because some tunawaitaka Johnny huko na nyuki. When you have so many children that are just roaming around with no fathers, with no caretaking, and some of the cases you can hear up until now were rape cases. I remember during our youth days, this British army, and this is something you'll never hear, but go to Nanyuki, they will tell you. These things happened. You used to find these Johnnies, these British soldiers, used to wanna drill mkate. They used to put their human waste up ndani, then throw to the kids. Then the kids would eat. Then mkifika huko ndani ndio unapata human waste huko ndani ya mkate. These are things that happened. You'd find so many people, so many girls, underage girls, that were leaving their homes to go get used by used I mean sexually by these British people. And these are report on whole of those information within the committee that was set up. There are still things that the Kenyan government is still trying to investigate, atrocities that were committed by these people. We literally have lost lives. I remember there was a time these people used to get into a club and nobody else could enjoy themselves in those clubs because they want to dominate, because they want to withdraw their guns, because they want to beat up people. People cannot enjoy. There were so many things that have happened with how some of these soldiers, I cannot complain about the British training unit in Nanyuki. Literally, the whole economy in Nanyuki runs through that camp that is there. They've employed our people, and I would say there is a balance to the good and evil that has happened. Probably even the good is much more, because there's a few rotten individuals within the camp that did these wrongdoings. But this is my point. And I do not understand why every deal that is happening in Kenya right now is coming with immunity deal attached to it. If you know you're a genuine person and doing something genuine, I do not understand why you need protection prior to you committing the thing that you think you might commit. Sijui kama hiyo tongue twister imeingia. So one of the things that the French government needs is protection, immunity for their soldiers before they set up camp here. And I still do not understand if the deal is still going to entail the withdrawal of the British training unit in Nanyuki. So we are spending millions forming inquiries to look at some of the injustices that have been committed by the British soldiers to our Kenyans. But here we have another entity, another country that wants to set up its soldiers in this country but have immunity for any wrongdoing that may. Sijui kama hiyo kitu inaingiana. Ndio maana tunaambiwa tunyamaze tukipiga kelele. Sababu utaniongelesha aje na uniangalia na kuambia mimi nakuja kwenu. Ninaweza ua lakini huwezi nifunga. Naweza rape lakini huwezi nifunga. Na mkiambiwa mnyamaze mnasema mnaambiwa vibaya. He has the right to tell you to shut up, because literally there is nothing of importance you people are saying. He's the only person with the say here. Let me repeat that for clarity. We have one country that is existing in this country, the British government, that has its soldiers in Nanyuki right now. Parliament took its time, money and resources. Other than money, definitely, there were other resources. Set up an inquiry, a committee, a whole committee. They visited Nanyuki. This is their, I think, the 14th trip to Nanyuki, to try and look at some of the injustices that have been going on right there in Nanyuki. We've spent close to 126 million. I'm not sure of the figure, but I think that is, the last time I checked, that is the money that was spent. And now we want to set up another country in this country with the same conditions, with the same activities that the British training unit does. But now we want to give these people want us to give them immunity for anything they might be accused of doing. I do not understand this trend that is with the deals our president is making with the outside world. Because it makes me wonder now, because this is the third organization, this is the third country that has made a request for immunity deals in this country. There's one organization called GCA. It has ties with UAN, the Nairobi University Chancellor. So GCA is an environmental NGO. So people who deal with the environment, you would wonder why do they really need immunity deals of their personnel and every other person that is going to be involved with the activities they'll be doing in this country. You see, someone who has no ill intentions does not need any fencing. They do not need any shield for anything. But it's only a person who knows what exactly they are coming to do and some illegalities might be involved in it that might need protection from the host country. And I would want full disclosure from this organization, that is the Dutch government and the France government. I would want to know how many organizations from Africa have they given tenure, have they given work license with immunity deals attached to them. I would want to see. There's definitely so many organizations in this country that we've given. The UN is one of them. They enjoy full immunity. But I would want the French government to show us some of the, not even Kenyan, any African organization, they've given access, a work license in their country. And within the agreements that they agreed to, immunity is one of them. I would want to see that. It would be very important to our decision making. But then again, we do not make decisions. So that is that. What the Kenyan government is doing to increase adoption of clean cooking options. GCA is one of the organizations that overlooks environmental activities. And when they were going to set up camp in this country, some of the things they were going to do is try and bring in clean energy in this country. It still goes back to what the president has promised to this country. There was another summit, the ACS, that was the African Climate Summit, that happened in this country 2 years ago. In that summit, some of the points that were raised by so many NGOs, by so many organizations that wanted to set up camp in this country and provide alternative energy to Kenya, we've not seen any single interaction on any single report from our Foreign Affairs Ministry, first of all, of any organization that signed a deal with this country from that summit in regards to clean energy. We signed a G2G agreement to solve the fuel crisis in this country. It did not work. During that ACS, our president literally drove from State House to KICC on kagari kaliko kanatoshana hivi. Kenya tuliambiwa kana engine na kagurumi. And went all the way to KICC. After that, subsequent, I expected that there was going to be a report. There was going to be some information to us telling us on where we've gotten with clean energy deals that were made from the ACS. Amatu host a summit and that was it. There is literally no development that has come from that. There was one organization that used to issue out GCOs in this country. So many people, if you go to Western, benefited from those GCOs. So many people from hizo areas za Gatondo, hizo areas za hapa Murang'a hii hapa juu kidogo, Thika, benefited from those GCOs. The areas they penetrated the most is the Western region. But that organization just packed up and left. They've done tremendous works in some parts of Tanzania. They've done some tremendous work in Rwanda. They've done some brilliant works in Botswana. But in Kenya, they decided to pack up and leave 1 year ago. There was a huge market in Kenya, but they decided to just pack up and leave. I once participated in this project where I went to a region in Mount Elgon, where this organization that used to issue out GCOs in Mount Elgon, and I visited these women that were giving stories of how they've literally even been able to breathe cleaner because hawatumii kuni so much, cause kuna kuni walikuwa wanaenda kukata zinakuwa so harmful to their lungs, wanashinda wakikohoa, they were not breathing right, their children were not, there was so much respiratory diseases in those areas. But when those GCOs came to them, ilikuja na some form of relief, ilikuja mpaka na health solutions. Ilikuja both economic and health solutions. So tell me why 1 year after the ACS, the Africa Climate Summit, such an organization just packs and leave. There's no communications from the government of why Ama they even tried to make sure that this organization sticks to this country. Secondly, I do not understand why or how this organization leaves this country, but it's even more stronger in other African countries. Amuel Oburu Oginga Odinga break silence after absence, na akaingia Senate, akapigiwa kongoi, akapigiwa hivi, sijui akisema akelea mawe, sijui akiekelea nini. Yes, so that was that. Cherailgei says he's above the governor positions. He cannot go to manage village monies back home. The majority leader position is quite big enough. So Kericho people take note of that. He said he's above that. He cannot go back to the village to pesa tano kidogo kidogo. He's a bit above you, nyi mko hapa chini kidogo, so he's aiming for higher grounds. That is not our issue, that is the Kericho people issue. Revolting against the Odingas, CS Mbadi and Ruth Spat to expose divisions. So basically, CS Mbadi and Ruth Odingas are in crossroads, trying to see who comes up on top. CS Mbadi sees now he's the kingpin within the Nyanza region. He's the CS after all. And he even asked the question, where is Odinga right now? So there's some ODM politics I have no capacity or the knowledge to discuss on. So I think that is it for today. There is no much headlines to tackle on politics in Kenya dailies. I'm trying to look at that. I saw Macron is running around with Kipchoge. There's one gentleman that made me very proud, that he had that one opportunity to take a photo with the foreign president. Even the kids, they were all over Kipchoge, which shows the solidarity and the appreciation of our Kenyan heroes, because Kipchoge is our hero. Kipchoge is whom we can look up to. Kipchoge has given us so much as a country, as opposed to the other things. So Kipchoge is literally whom we should be appreciating as a country. Kipchoge is literally our hero. He's whom I would want to have a photo with, in exemption of anything else. So yes, that is it for us today, Mr. George. Take us away.